My son is currently 7 years old, and approximately 6 years ago, when he was about a year old, I was at a home and received a bill, a surprise medical bill for, I believe it was approximately $1,000 to $1,200 from the anesthesiologist at the hospital. My OB was in network, my doctor was in network. Every blood test I had had during pregnancy was covered completely as it was supposed to be. Every ultrasound I had was covered. And then a year later, I got this bill, and I was like, well, what is this? So I called the doctor's office. They said, call billing, called billing. Billing said, oh, well, he was out of your network. And I said, well, I was in labor. I forgot to check. Sorry. The billing threatened to put me in collections, called my insurance company, insurance, and the doctor's office went back and forth. Eventually, it was resolved. I don't recall paying anything. However, teachers have very good insurance, and I was under the impression that I was just following procedure. Because my labor started spontaneously a few hours earlier or later, I might have seen a different anesthesiologist at the same hospital and not received the bill. And then when I became pregnant with my second child, one of the first things I said to my obstetrician was, well, how do I make sure when I go into labor I'm not going to get a surprise medical bill again? And he goes, oh, I wish you'd called me when that happened. My office would have resolved it. And it didn't dawn on me at the time to even call his office, because he wasn't the one that sent it to me and he wasn't my insurance. And now it's just left me a little paranoid, as my children are now 7 and 5, and we have occasional tests and doctor visits and interesting procedures and things of that nature, that I'm always asking, well, is this going to be covered? Do you take Aetna? Are you in my network? Are you? Yeah, and being a public school teacher, my insurance changes from time to time, and that's, just when I think I figured it out, oh, we're getting new cards in the mail and it's time to figure it out again. So I really think, I guess in a way I'm lucky that my bill was only $1,200, because people certainly receive bigger ones. But on the other hand, I guess had the time to fight it and the energy. Some people just suck it up and pay the $1,200 or put the $1,200 on their credit card.
And I had an emergency brain surgery in 2015. I was at the emergency center at Bayonne Medical Center, and they transferred me out to Hackensack Hospital, and that bill, was not an issue. I had 2 brain surgeries and a follow-up of about 5 cath procedure with a neurosurgeon that I came to find out was out of network. And it took several months of going back and forth with the insurance and the HR department to ensure that the bills would be covered, because it was an emergency. So, and I was unconscious. I couldn't make any decisions. And as, that went along, there was a settlement made with the neurosurgeon through the insurance company. About 4 months afterwards, though, I received a bill in the mail from the anesthesiologist, who I come to learn was out of network. And as I said, I had several procedures and surgeries. So my anesthesiologist bills that were not paid by the insurance were about $6,000. I tried myself to negotiate with them to make a payment, or a plan, and they refused. They forwarded it to collection. I contacted them. They refused. It went to another collection company, the same thing. It ended up at Pressler and Pressler, and I ended up in court in Toms River. It was in Ocean County then. When I went to the court, I offered the same agreement I did 5 months prior, and it was accepted. It's just that if you give up or you don't go, fight it, so to speak, you're always a loser. You're always at the losing end. And most recently, last week, I got a phone call about a bill from 2015 that I'm waiting to get in the mail and see what that's about, So this Stop Surprise Medical Act bill, anyone I could speak with, and if you tell me who, I will, so that it continues to help people. It's very, very important, I was very lucky and blessed to have survived, a brain aneurysm, and it's not always easy to keep up with this. Your dining room table fills up, and then after a while, your nightstand fills up, because you can't deal with it during the day, so let me see if I could see what I could do before I go to sleep, And I'm sure there's many, 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 many patients, that are in that situation. And some are in that situation or have been even with two insurances because each one fights the other, So, I look forward to this bill going through, as quickly as possible. And thank you, Senator Menendez,
Thank
for
you,
your
Liz.
action.
Thank you for sharing your story. And